The sky trembled as if the heavens themselves had taken a breath too deep, and from the void between the stars, a shiver rippled through the realms. Midgard had always known storms, but none like this. Lightning tore through the horizon with a fury that bent the clouds into impossible shapes, and the seas roared with voices that seemed almost human, speaking in tongues long forgotten. Mortals trembled in their homes, praying to gods they barely understood, unaware that their prayers were now tangled in threads far beyond their comprehension. High above, in the golden spires of Asgard, Thor, the god of thunder, paced across the rainbow bridge, Mjolnir heavy in his hand. His red cloak whipped around him as the bridge hummed with unstable energy. He had sensed it first, a pulse in the heavens unlike any storm he had ever summoned. The air itself felt torn, stretched thin, and yet vibrating with a power that resonated with Mjolnir. "Father," Thor said, calling to Odin, "the 9 realms tremble. Something stirs beyond even our sight." Odin's one eye glimmered, reflecting both wisdom and worry. "A convergence, my son. The barriers between worlds weaken. I have seen its shadow in the threads of fate. Asgard, Olympus, even Midgard. They will bleed into one another. Chaos waits for the cracks, and it hungers." Thor's jaw tightened. "Then I shall strike it down. Whatever dares threaten the realms, it will fall before my hammer." Before Odin could reply, the sky above Asgard split with a brilliant flash, brighter than 1,000 suns. Lightning crackled and the air vibrated with a tone so deep it resonated in the chest of gods and men alike. From the rift, a figure emerged, a presence as commanding as Thor's own, yet different, foreign. A man, tall and broad, crowned with a mane of white hair, eyes glowing like molten gold, his very presence radiating authority and storm. "Who dares invade Asgard?" Thor bellowed, stepping forward, Mjolnir raised. The storm responded to his anger, thunder rolling with his voice. The figure's voice was calm, but carried the weight of mountains and tempests. "I could ask you the same, Norse god. I am Zeus, king of Olympus. It seems our realms bleed together, and I seek answers." Thor's eyes narrowed. "Zeus, the thunderer of Greece? This is no place for your meddling, Greek. Step back or face my wrath." Zeus raised a hand, and from his fingers leapt a bolt of lightning that danced across the clouds, not in anger, but in warning. "I seek no war, yet I will not be dismissed. The convergence is unnatural. If we do not act, worlds will fall." The tension between them was palpable, the air thick with electricity, charged with the latent power of 2 of the greatest gods of thunder in all existence. Around them, Asgard trembled, and Thor's hammer pulsed in recognition of the foreign thunder. Mjolnir sang with the knowledge that this other god's power rivaled his own. But before either could strike, the sky ruptured further, and from the fissure came a shadow darker than night, writhing with malevolence. It was a creature of no known mythology, its form shifting, whispering promises of destruction. It thrived on the discord between gods, and its hunger for chaos was immense. Mortals screamed as lightning and shadow collided, their screams echoing across realms. Thor's hammer glowed bright as he launched himself into the tempest, and Zeus's thunderbolt tore through the sky, striking the creature, but it absorbed the energy, growing larger, more terrifying. "Together," Odin's voice boomed through the ether. "You must fight together, or all will perish." Thor hesitated, pride gnawing at him. He was the god of thunder. None could command him, not even the whispers of prophecy. But the threat before him was undeniable. Zeus, sensing Thor's hesitation, did not push further. Instead, he unleashed a cascade of storms, herding the shadow back, giving Thor the moment he needed. The first clash of titanic powers echoed across Midgard, the sky ablaze with lightning and fire. Mountains crumbled, seas boiled, and yet neither god yielded. Their battle was not of hatred, but of misunderstanding, each testing the limits of the other, unaware that every blow they struck fed the chaos creature that watched them with hunger. Finally, amidst the fury, Thor and Zeus paused, eyes meeting. understanding dawning that they were not enemies but perhaps the only hope. This convergence, it's not natural, Zeus said, voice heavy with concern. Something seeks to pit us against each other. I have faced titans, monsters, the underworld itself, but never this, Thor gripped Mjolnir tightly. Then we end it, together, for the realms. The creature recoiled, sensing the newfound unity, its hunger threatened. And in that instant, the first seeds of alliance were sown, though mistrust lingered. As the storm began to calm, Odin's voice echoed once more. The path ahead is perilous. The worlds bleed into one another. You will need allies, and enemies will not reveal themselves easily. Seek the seers, gather the heroes. Only then can you face what is coming. And with that, Thor and Zeus, still wary of one another, set out toward Midgard, where mortals struggled to survive, and where the threads of destiny had begun to weave a tale that would shake gods and men alike. In the shadows, Loki watched, a grin playing across his face. Finally, the fun begins. And somewhere beneath the earth, in a prison older than time itself, Hades stirred, sensing the rupture. The gods clash, and the world trembles. Perhaps it is time to awaken the old powers. Thus began the convergence, a storm that would span realms, test loyalties and forge legends that even the bards of Olympus and Asgard would struggle to recount fully. The convergence of realms continued to tear through the fabric of existence. Midgard's skies churned with an unnatural fury, lightning jagged across the heavens like celestial scars, while rivers boiled and mountains shivered. Mortals fled in terror, their prayers a chaotic symphony that reached the ears of gods. Yet only half of them could comprehend the unfolding catastrophe. Thor and Zeus had descended to Midgard, each stepping carefully on the mortal world, their presence alone bending reality. Villages crumbled at their feet, forests ignited with lightning, and the very air hummed with divine energy. Despite Odin's warning, neither god fully trusted the other. Thor's eyes blazed with indignation at Zeus's calm authority, and Zeus's golden gaze measured Thor's raw power with the scrutiny of a seasoned king. You wield brute strength, Norse god, but do you understand the consequences of your actions? Zeus demanded, his voice a rolling thunder that shook the trees. Thor swung Mjolnir in frustration, thunder answering his motion. Consequences? Mortals die because you wait too long to act! I will not stand idle while chaos spreads. Before an agreement could form, the creature from the rift, this shadowy anomaly, nameless and ever-shifting, rose from the earth like smoke given form. Its body rippled, absorbing light and storm alike, feeding on the discord between Thor and Zeus. Thor roared, swinging Mjolnir, and the shockwave tore through the creature's mass. Zeus struck simultaneously, his golden lightning searing the air. The attacks collided, producing a cataclysmic explosion that obliterated the nearby valley, sending shockwaves across Midgard. The creature screamed in an unearthly chorus, its hunger intensifying. Your powers. Too similar, Thor growled, feeling the strain in his arms. You are no mere mortal's god. And you, Zeus replied, eyes narrowing, are too reckless. Together, we could defeat it, but apart, we only feed its strength. Yet Thor's pride burned hotter than any storm. I do not kneel to a Greek god, nor I to a Norse one, Zeus countered, and with a gesture, summoned a hurricane of lightning, a swirling vortex that threatened to consume the creature entirely. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the vortex, redirecting its fury into the sky, striking Zeus's shield of golden lightning with a shock that could shatter mountains. The clash was titanic, shaking not just Midgard but the very foundations of Olympus and Asgard. Far above, Odin and Hera watched through their divine sight, realizing that the collision of these two forces was feeding the creature's strength, not diminishing it. You must trust each other, Hera whispered to Zeus. The creature senses your hesitation. Your pride, it grows stronger with every clash. Odin's reply came in a low rumble. Mortals are dying. The balance cannot wait. Pride will be the death of them all. Meanwhile, Loki, hidden among the crumbling ruins, observed the fight with a sly grin. He had predicted this. He had always known that Thor's temper and Zeus's authority would clash like steel on steel. Perfect, Loki murmured. Let them tear each other apart. Or better yet, let them forge an alliance. After much suffering, of course. Back on the battlefield, the creature lashed out, tendrils of darkness snapping at the gods, absorbing their attacks and morphing into terrifying new shapes. One moment, it was a serpent with the wings of a dragon. The next, a shadowed giant with molten eyes. Thor swung Mjolnir, smashing one of its forms, only to see it dissolve and reform as an even larger monstrosity. Zeus struck with thunderbolts, but they merely scorched the surface, leaving the entity unscathed and more enraged. The mortals below ran, cowering in terror, witnessing their world being reshaped by forces they could never comprehend. Villages burned, forests split, and the ocean rose in great waves, lashing the coastline. Yet amidst the chaos, a few courageous humans, guided by the light of faith, began to organize themselves, building temporary shelters and praying fervently, some even attempting to signal the gods. Thor and Zeus finally realized the futility of continued rivalry. Thor lowered Mjolnir slightly, chest heaving. "Enough," he growled. "We are not enemies. This creature, it thrives on our discord. If we continue like this, it will consume everything." Zeus's lightning dimmed, acknowledging Thor's insight. "Agreed. But cooperation will be difficult, for we have never fought side by side." The first step toward alliance came abruptly, as the creature lunged at them with unrelenting fury. Thor swung Mjolnir in a massive arc, striking its massive shadowed arm, while Zeus channeled a storm into the ground beneath it, destabilizing its form. Together, the combination of raw might and precise strategy forced the creature back, giving mortals a brief reprieve. But even as they fought, Loki's whispering schemes set other events into motion. Across the realms, Hades stirred, sensing the instability. The underworld's gates shook as the imprisoned titans shifted uneasily in their eternal chains. "The gods clash," Hades murmured, "and the balance falters. Perhaps it is time for the old powers to awaken." As night fell on Midgard, the battlefield became a tableau of devastation. Scorched earth, shattered mountains, and thunder-filled skies. Thor and Zeus, standing atop a cliff that overlooked a burning forest, surveyed the aftermath. "We need allies," Zeus said, his voice heavy with the weight of authority. "Seers, heroes, gods who can sway the tide. If we fight alone, the realms are doomed." Thor nodded, the anger in his eyes replaced with grim determination. "Then we find them. But first, we must understand the enemy. What is this creature? What drives it?" Neither god knew the answer, but both sensed the same truth. The convergence was more than a cosmic accident. It was orchestrated, deliberate, and the forces behind it were ancient, older than any god alive, older than time itself. As they prepared to depart, a lone figure emerged from the shadows, a mortal prophet, cloaked in rags, yet eyes gleaming with a strange, otherworldly light. "Thor, Zeus, the threads of fate pull you both forward," the prophet said. "The eternal storm approaches. Unite or all realms fall to shadow." Thor and Zeus exchanged a wary glance. Neither trusted the mortal fully, yet the gravity in the prophet's voice was undeniable. And somewhere above, in the heavens of Asgard and Olympus alike, Odin and Hera exchanged looks of grim understanding. "The stage is set," Odin said. "The convergence has begun. And the gods, they are not ready." The storm raged on, a harbinger of the trials to come. Thor and Zeus knew their journey had only begun. The clash of gods was over, but the war for the realms had just begun, and every step forward would test their strength, their courage, and their ability to trust one another against an enemy that thrived on chaos itself. In the shadows, Loki chuckled. "Patience," he whispered. "The greatest fun is yet to come." and deep beneath the earth, Hades smiled. Let the games begin. The world had not yet recovered from the shockwaves of Thor and Zeus's clash when whispers began to stir across mortal lands. From the high mountains of Midgard to the sprawling forests, tales of gods walking among humans spread like wildfire. Farmers, warriors, and wanderers alike spoke of the storm that had torn the skies apart, of fire and lightning, and of a creature that seemed born from shadow itself. Fear mingled with awe, and in the hearts of many, a fragile hope flickered. Perhaps the gods themselves would save them. Meanwhile, Thor and Zeus journeyed to the ancient city of Delphi, a place steeped in prophecy and sacred knowledge, where the veil between realms was thinnest. The prophet who had first spoken to them, a mortal named Callistratus, guided their path. His eyes glimmered with the faint golden light of foresight, and his voice carried the weight of truths long hidden. "Why do you summon me here, mortal?" Thor asked, still wary of the human's wisdom. Callistratus bowed slightly. "I do not summon you, god of thunder. Fate has drawn you here. The threads of destiny are fraying, and only through understanding the prophecy may the realms be saved. You are both part of it, whether you wish it or not." Zeus's eyes narrowed, golden light flickering across his irises. "Prophecies are often riddles. Speak plainly, mortal. What threatens the worlds?" Callistratus's gaze shifted skyward, as though reading the storm itself. Long ago, before gods claimed dominion over sky and sea, before mortals walked the earth, there existed an entity older than time, older than the heavens. Its name is lost to us, for even the first scribes feared to speak it. It fed on discord, on the clash of powers, on the strife between those who wielded the storms. And now, it awakens. Thor's grip tightened on Mjolnir. Then it is the creature we faced. It grows stronger when we fight, does it not? Callistratus nodded gravely. Indeed. You have already fed it with your initial clash. And yet you are not enemies but instruments of the prophecy. Only by uniting can you hope to contain it, or the world shall fall into eternal shadow. But know this, the path is treacherous and allies are scarce. Betrayal lurks where you least expect it. Zeus's voice was low, thoughtful. Then we must gather allies among gods and mortals alike. Odin warned me of similar disturbances in Asgard. Perhaps the old world knows more of this entity than even I do. Thor's eyes softened, acknowledging the gravity of Zeus's words. I trust you enough to fight beside you, Greek, but if this prophecy is to be believed, we must move quickly. Every moment of hesitation strengthens the shadow. Callistratus led them to the temple of the oracle, where the walls were etched with sigils older than Olympus itself. Here, the mortal whispered words that opened the veil, allowing Thor and Zeus to glimpse visions of possible futures. Fires raged across lands, storms shattered the seas, and the creature's ever-changing form consumed entire realms. Yet in the visions, there were flashes of hope. Thor and Zeus fighting side by side, allied with both gods and mortals, pushing back the darkness with the combined fury of storms and courage. Your destinies are intertwined, Callistratus intoned. And yet, even with unity, the trial will be immense. The prophecy speaks of a convergence of powers, Norse and Greek, mortal and divine. Only by forging bonds where none have existed can the eternal storm be challenged. Zeus stepped forward, lightning crackling along his arms. Then we seek these bonds. Who are the heroes we must rally? Callistratus hesitated, his eyes reflecting the flickering torchlight. Some are gods, hidden in realms untouched by mortals. Others are mortals of extraordinary courage, yet untested. You will face deception, trials designed to test not only strength but will. Loki's cunning, Hades' ambition, the remnants of Titans, they all watch, waiting for the moment to strike. Trust must be earned, even among the divine. Thor's expression hardened. Then we begin the journey. We seek the seers, the heroes, and the divine. Let the worlds tremble if they must, but the shadow shall not consume them while I draw breath. Zeus inclined his head, a silent acknowledgement of Thor's commitment. Agreed, but we proceed with caution. Pride alone will not save us. nor will power without strategy. We must think as one, act as one. The mortal prophet guided them through secret passages beneath Delphi, leading to ancient altars where the very air seemed alive with magic. Here, visions revealed hidden dangers. Loki manipulating events across Asgard and Midgard, Hades stirring the Titans in their chains, and the shadowy creature growing, feeding on every act of discord. Each revelation was a warning, a challenge, a test of resolve. As Thor and Zeus emerged from the temple, the sky above Delphi darkened unnaturally. Clouds swirled in impossible patterns, and the winds carried whispers of warnings long forgotten. The first test of unity had already begun. The convergence had created pockets of instability where mortal lands intersected with divine power. Entire regions of Midgard had begun to warp, mountains twisting impossibly, rivers running backward, forests alive with strange, hostile magic. Zeus's voice cut through the rising wind. These anomalies, they are the first signs of the eternal storm manifesting fully. We cannot waste time. We must move swiftly to gather our allies. Thor gripped Mjolnir, the hammer humming in recognition of the growing threat. Then our path is clear. We go to Asgard, to Olympus, to the edges of Midgard. We seek the heroes and the seers, and we face whatever lies in our way. Even as they set out, the mortal prophet's words lingered. Betrayal is near, the prophecy is incomplete, the shadows are patient. The journey would test not only their strength but their hearts and minds. Thor and Zeus knew that the coming trials would challenge everything they believed about themselves, about each other, and about the nature of power itself. Loki, watching from the shadows, smirked as he vanished into the storms. "Let the games begin," he whispered, eager to sow discord among gods and mortals alike. And beneath the earth, Hades spoke to the imprisoned Titans, his voice carrying the weight of inevitability. The mortal and divine clash. Soon we shall see if even gods can resist the temptation of chaos. The worlds are ripe for my hand. Thus the prophecy was revealed. Thor and Zeus, now aware of the true stakes, embarked on a journey that would take them across realms, through treacherous landscapes, and into the hearts of gods and mortals alike. The eternal storm was coming, and the threads of fate were tightening around them. In order to prevail, they would need to set aside pride, embrace unity, and summon courage greater than any the world had ever known. The first step had been taken, but the path ahead promised danger, betrayal, and trials that could break even the strongest of gods. The skies of Midgard were still unsettled, remnants of the earlier clash between Thor and Zeus streaking across the heavens like lingering scars. Yet amidst the turbulence, a fragile calm settled over the mortal lands, giving Thor and Zeus a brief moment to gather themselves before the true trials began. Their alliance, forged in the heat of battle, was still tentative. Neither god fully trusted the other, but the enormity of the prophecy and the chaos they faced demanded unity. Callistratus, the mortal prophet, had mapped a path to the first of the seers who could provide guidance for their quest. The Oracle of Aegis, he explained, resides on the cliffs of the Eastern Reach. She has seen the convergence of worlds before, though only in fragmented visions. She may hold the key to understanding the eternal storm's true nature. Thor's eyes narrowed. And what waits for us along the way? Loki will surely attempt something, and Hades will not sit idle. Zeus's gaze swept the horizon, lightning dancing along his fingertips. Indeed, but hesitation now will only give the shadow more strength. We must act swiftly and decisively. The journey took them through landscapes transformed by the unstable merging of realms. In some regions, the sun burned red, casting twisted shadows across the earth. Rivers flowed backward, carrying strange, glowing fish that flared with electric light. Forests teemed with creatures born of myth and nightmare, giant serpents with wings of fire, spectral wolves that whispered in tongues unknown, and trees whose roots moved as though alive, attempting to ensnare travelers. Thor swung Mjolnir at a snapping root. clearing the path while Zeus struck the spectral wolves with precision lightning, scattering them into ash. Each step forward was a test, and each obstacle reminded them that the convergence was not merely a threat to mortals, but to all life across the realms. Along the way, they encountered their first allies. A human warrior named Kalin, whose courage in defending his village from the twisted creatures had caught Callistratus's attention, joined them. Kalin was fearless, wielding a great sword with skill and precision that rivaled some of the lesser gods. Though mortal, his presence was a reminder that heroes could rise from any corner of the world. "I have heard of your deeds, Kalin," Thor said, clasping the warrior's shoulder. "Your courage honors the realms. You will fight beside us?" Kalin bowed. "It is my life's purpose to protect these lands, gods or no gods. I will stand with you." Zeus studied him, a faint smile breaking his stern expression. "Brave mortal, your heart is your greatest weapon. Let it guide you." Yet not all allies were found so easily. The first seer, an enigmatic woman named Erindra, demanded proof of their intentions before offering guidance. She spoke in riddles, her eyes reflecting glimpses of futures yet to come. "Two storms converge," she intoned, "and yet the shadow grows. Pride blinds one, wrath ensnares the other. Only through unity can the eternal be faced. But beware, those closest to you may betray your trust." Thor and Zeus exchanged a glance, recognizing the warning in her words. They had already faced their own clash, and the tension between them had not fully dissipated. Erindra's caution was a reminder that even as allies, their bond was fragile. As they traveled, Loki's interference became more apparent. Traps set along the path, illusions that threatened to separate the group, and whispers of doubt plagued their journey. At one point, the heroes were led into a forest where the trees themselves seemed to move, reshaping the path and creating illusions of enemies that did not exist. Thor's instinct and Mjolnir's power dispelled the illusions, while Zeus's lightning illuminated the true path forward. "Loki's hand is here," Thor said, his voice low with anger. "He seeks to test us, to divide us." Zeus nodded, eyes narrowing. "Then we must remain vigilant. His cunning is formidable, but he cannot match combined strength and resolve." During their journey, they also encountered divine allies. Athena, wise and strategic, offered guidance on confronting the creature of the eternal storm and understanding its origins. She cautioned them about the underworld and Hades, whose ambitions could tip the balance toward chaos if left unchecked. "You cannot face the eternal storm alone," Athena warned. "Its power is ancient, beyond comprehension. Only by uniting gods, mortals, and seers can you hope to survive." Thor and Zeus took her counsel seriously, realizing that raw strength alone would not suffice. Strategy, wisdom, and alliances would be as crucial as the might of thunder and hammer. As days turned to nights, the journey brought them to the cliffs of the Eastern Reach, where the oracle awaited. The winds here were fierce, carrying the scent of salt and storm, and the cliffs themselves seemed alive, shifting subtly beneath their feet. Here, they faced their first true trial, a chasm that split the cliffs, wide and unyielding, with the storm below threatening to swallow any who fell. Thor's gaze swept the gap. "We must cross. There is no other way." Zeus conjured a bridge of lightning, solidifying it enough to support their weight, while Thor swung Mjolnir to guide their steps. Together, the gods and their mortal ally crossed, each movement precise, each strike of power coordinated. The chasm was a test not just of strength, but of trust, a reminder that their unity must be unwavering if they hope to survive the coming trials. Finally, they reached the oracle herself, a woman of immense power and knowledge. Her eyes glowed with the light of foresight, and her voice carried the weight of destiny. "The eternal storm awakens," she said, her gaze shifting between Thor and Zeus. "Its hunger is endless, fed by the discord among gods and mortals alike. You are the chosen catalysts, yet your paths are fraught with peril. Loki will test your unity, Hades will seek to exploit your doubts, and the shadows will rise to consume what you hold dear. Only through courage, wisdom, and trust can the storm be faced and the realms preserved. Thor clenched Mjolnir, resolve burning in his eyes. Then we begin. There's no time for doubt. Zeus's lightning crackled along his arms, his gaze unwavering. We move forward together. The storm will not break us if we remain united. And so, the journey truly began. The trials ahead would test not only their strength, but their hearts, minds, and the very bonds that connected them. As the convergence continued to warp the realms, Thor, Zeus, Kalin, and their allies prepared for the challenges to come, knowing that failure could mean the end of worlds. Loki watched from afar, a grin playing across his lips. The pieces are moving as I intended. Let the games truly begin, he whispered, disappearing into the swirling storms. Hades, deep within the underworld, stirred once more. The gods march toward their destiny, he murmured, and the shadows shall rise to meet them. The eternal storm is coming, and soon all shall tremble. The journey from Delphi to the northern reaches of Midgard had tested Thor, Zeus, and their companions in ways they had not anticipated. The landscapes were still warped from the merging of realms, rivers flowing in reverse, mountains twisting unnaturally, and storms that defied both time and reason. Yet the gods pressed on, driven by the prophecy and the growing knowledge that the eternal storm would not wait for hesitation. But while Thor and Zeus advanced, the shadow of betrayal moved quietly beneath the world. In the depths of the underworld, Hades stirred, sensing the progress of the divine coalition. The Lord of the Dead had long observed the pride and impulsiveness of Thor and Zeus, and he had waited patiently for the moment to strike. The convergence grows unstable, Hades murmured, his voice echoing through the cavernous halls of his realm. The gods march, blind to the manipulations at work. Loki's mischief has only begun to sow discord. Soon the eternal storm will awaken fully, and the power of the Titans can be unleashed. The imprisoned Titans, chained in the deepest abyss of the underworld, shifted uneasily, their immense forms coiled in restraint. They had slumbered for eons, bound by the first gods, yet the weakening of the realms stirred something long dormant. Kronos, the ancient Titan of time, spoke first, his voice a grinding force that resonated through the caverns. "Shall we rise, Lord of Shadows?" Kronos asked, eyes burning with the fire of unspent ages. Hades smiled, his eyes glinting with cunning. "Patience. The time is near." The gods move toward unity, and only then will the betrayal be most potent. Their strength will blind them to the trap awaiting them. Meanwhile, on the surface, Thor and Zeus continued their trek northward, moving through forests that whispered with ancient magic. Kalin, the mortal warrior, remained vigilant, alert to every movement, every anomaly. "The forests grow restless," Kalin said, gripping his sword. "Even the animals behave strangely. It feels unnatural." Thor's grip tightened on Mjolnir. "It is. The convergence twists the natural order. But we will face whatever comes." Zeus raised his hand, summoning a small orb of lightning to illuminate their path. "And yet we must be cautious. The enemy does not always strike openly. Shadows and whispers are just as deadly as brute force." Their journey led them to a narrow canyon, the walls towering above like jagged teeth. It was here that the first real betrayal unfolded. A messenger arrived, an emissary claiming to be sent from the oracle, bearing urgent news. The figure, cloaked and hooded, spoke with authority. "The path ahead," the messenger warned, "is beset with trials you cannot yet imagine. A bridge of ice spans the chasm, but it is unstable. Cross quickly, or all will perish." Thor's instincts screamed that something was amiss, yet Zeus, guided by his own wisdom, sensed the urgency as well. Together they advanced cautiously. The bridge, a narrow span of glistening ice, appeared to stretch endlessly across the canyon. Halfway across, the ice trembled violently, cracks spreading like veins. From the shadows emerged grotesque forms, creatures of darkness, clearly manipulated by Hades and Loki alike. The emissary's hood fell, revealing a twisted grin. It was Loki himself, the trickster god of mischief, delighted at the chaos he had orchestrated. "My dear Thunderers," Loki said, voice dripping with amusement. "I feared the journey would be too simple. Let us test your unity, shall we?" Thor's rage ignited like the storm itself. "Loki, stand down or feel the wrath of Mjolnir." Zeus's lightning surged, ready to strike, yet Loki moved with speed that matched the flicker of light itself. Shadows darted forward, attacking the group from multiple directions. Kalin fought valiantly, swinging his sword with precision, yet the overwhelming number of enemies threatened to split the group. The battle across the icy bridge was fierce. Thor swung Mjolnir, striking shadows that seemed almost indestructible. Zeus unleashed torrents of lightning, carving paths through the darkness. Yet every strike seemed to feed the creature beyond the rift, the shadow's energy growing with each clash. "You see?" Loki taunted, weaving through the storm. "Every time you fight among yourselves, every moment of hesitation, the eternal storm gains strength. You are already playing into my hands, and Hades." Thor gritted his teeth, chest heaving with exertion. "We fight together, Greek. Now, or we fail." Zeus nodded, their unity crystallizing in the heat of battle. Lightning and thunder combined with raw might, forcing Loki's shadows to retreat. Yet even as they celebrated the victory, the true betrayal came from below. The ice bridge cracked completely, revealing a chasm leading directly into the underworld itself. From the depths, a voice resonated, cold and commanding. "Welcome, gods," Hades intoned. "You have ventured far, and yet the path you walk is mine to control. Step carefully, for the shadows of the underworld are endless, and betrayal lurks in every shadow you trust." The group barely managed to escape the collapsing bridge, retreating to the canyon's edge. Loki's laughter echoed, mingling with the rumble of the shifting realms. Thor's voice was grim. "Hades is moving his pieces. This was a trap designed not just to harm us, but to test our resolve." Zeus's golden eyes glimmered with determination. "Then we must anticipate his next move. The Titans will awaken if we falter. Our journey grows ever more dangerous, but retreat is not an option." Kalin, though mortal, steadied himself. "Then we press on. The mortals depend on you, gods, and I will not let them down." As they moved forward, Arindra's words came to mind. "Betrayal lurks where you least expect it." The prophecy was clear. The journey would test not only their strength, but their unity and trust. Every step forward risked feeding the eternal storm. Every hesitation empowered Hades and his allies. From the shadows of the underworld, Kronos shifted in his chains, watching with growing anticipation. "Soon," the Titan murmured, "the gods will face the consequences of their pride. Their alliance will be tested, and the eternal storm will rise." And so, Thor, Zeus, Kalin, and their growing assembly of allies pressed onward, navigating treacherous terrain and unpredictable magic. The convergence of realms continued to warp the world around them. Yet they advanced, knowing that their journey was not merely one of strength, but of trust, strategy, and courage. Above, the skies roared, a reminder that the eternal storm was not yet fully manifest. Below, shadows shifted, and the whispers of betrayal followed their every step. The gods and their allies were marching into the heart of peril, where the lines between friend and foe blurred, and where the actions of a single god could determine the fate of all realms. The underworld had revealed its hand, and the first seeds of betrayal had been sown. Thor and Zeus would need every ounce of power, every fragment of wisdom, and every shred of trust they could muster to survive what was yet to come. The journey was far from over, and the eternal storm was only beginning to awaken. The path from the underworld's shadow to the northern highlands of Midgard was fraught with dangers beyond mortal comprehension. Even the bravest of mortals would have quailed before the landscapes Thor, Zeus, and their companions now traversed. The convergence of realms had twisted the world into a crucible of elemental chaos, where fire, water, earth, and air no longer obeyed natural laws, and each step forward demanded courage, cunning, and divine might. Thor, Mjolnir in hand, led the group across the first of these trials, the plains of roaring flame. Rivers of molten rock carved paths through blackened earth, geysers of fire erupting without warning, and the very air shimmered with heat so intense that it seemed to bend light itself. Each step forward required precise timing and coordination. Thor swung Mjolnir, summoning thunder to douse the flames and stabilize the ground beneath them. Zeus, calling upon his mastery over the sky, summoned bolts of lightning to redirect the lava flows, creating paths safe enough for Kalin and other mortal allies to cross. "The flames obey only power," Thor said, his voice booming over the roar of molten rivers. "We must strike in unison or all is lost." Zeus's lightning illuminated the horizon, highlighting the enormity of the trial. "Precision and timing, Thor. Raw strength alone will not suffice. Focus your energy, and we shall move as one." Kalin, struggling to keep pace with the gods, followed closely. Each step tested his endurance and courage, yet he pressed forward, guided by faith in the gods and the knowledge that mortal lives depended on their success. Beyond the plains of roaring flame lay the forest of shifting winds, a place where the air itself was alive, twisting and bending, carrying whispers of the past, illusions of the future, and currents that could sweep even the strongest god off their feet. Here, the trial was not one of brute force, but of balance and perception. Zeus's mastery over the sky allowed him to calm the fiercest gusts temporarily, while Thor relied on his intuition and the strength of Mjolnir to anchor the group against sudden whirlwinds. Amid the winds, the group encountered creatures born of elemental chaos, giant air serpents that glimmered like liquid silver, wolves that ran along currents of wind, and spirits of fire and stone, each seeking to test the intruder's resolve. Every strike, every movement had to be measured, for a single misstep could spell disaster. This forest. "It feeds on doubt," Thor observed, narrowly dodging a strike from a wind serpent. "Every hesitation strengthens its creatures," Zeus nodded, eyes scanning the skies. "Then we act decisively. The elements obey those who respect them, not those who fear them." The next trial awaited in the caverns of eternal water, a subterranean realm where rivers ran like molten glass. Waterfalls flowed upward, and the very water seemed to possess a mind of its own. Swimming or walking was impossible. The group had to navigate by guiding elemental currents using divine intervention and teamwork. Thor's thunder created pulses that stabilized floating rocks, while Zeus's lightning interacted with the water to illuminate safe passages. Kalin, guided by faith and sheer determination, managed to avoid the treacherous whirlpools that threatened to pull him into the dark depths. "This water. It tests patience and coordination," Zeus observed. "Rushing forward leads only to destruction," Thor nodded. "Then we proceed with caution, but we do not falter. Every delay empowers the eternal storm." Amid the caverns, the group discovered ancient artifacts, relics of power left by gods of old. A spear imbued with the fury of storms, a shield that could bend lightning, and a crystal that amplified the strength of mortals in battle. Yet these artifacts were guarded by elemental spirits, and retrieving them required courage, wisdom, and perfect coordination. Thor and Zeus guided Kalin and the others through these trials, demonstrating that even mortals could wield divine power if their hearts were steadfast. Each element taught a lesson. Fire demanded courage and decisiveness, winds demanded balance and awareness, water demanded patience and unity, and the earth demanded strength and perseverance. By the time the group emerged from the final trial, they had grown not only in power but in trust, understanding that their journey required unity above all else. Yet challenges were far from over. As they climbed the northern highlands, the shadows of betrayal lingered. Loki's mischief still haunted them, subtly twisting their path, sending illusions to test their resolve, and whispering doubts that threatened to fracture their fragile alliance. Hades' influence reached even here, as whispers of the underworld tainted the air, tempting mortals with visions of power and immortality. Kalin, sensing the insidiousness of these whispers, turned to Thor. The gods may be mighty, but even their strength can be twisted by cunning. We must remain vigilant, not just against the creatures, but against deceit itself. Thor's eyes narrowed. Then we sharpen our senses. Mjolnir will strike the false as swiftly as it strikes the true. And Zeus, your lightning will illuminate the path where shadows lurk. Zeus raised his hands, summoning a storm that swept across the highlands, purging the residual influence of Hades and Loki. Let the darkness know that we are united. Our strength is not merely in power, but in resolve and trust. As they pressed onward, Arindra's warning echoed in their minds. Betrayal lurks where you least expect it. Every trial, every test of elements, was as much about strengthening their unity as it was about surviving the physical dangers of the world. They began to understand that the eternal storm was not merely a creature, but a force that thrived on division, doubt, and fear. Only through complete cooperation, trust, and courage could they hope to face it. At the end of the highlands, the group found themselves overlooking a valley where the skies were unnaturally dark, lightning striking in impossible patterns, and the wind carrying whispers that chilled even the hearts of gods. It was here that the next phase of their journey would begin, the heart of the eternal storm, where every element, every challenge, and every betrayal would converge into a test unlike any they had faced. Thor, gripping Mjolnir, looked to Zeus. We have passed the trials of fire, wind, water, and earth, but I sense the greatest trial awaits. Zeus's golden eyes glimmered with determination.
Indeed, the elements have prepared us, but the storm itself is more than any one test.
We must move forward together, or the worlds fall to shadow. Kalin, standing among gods, seers, and mortal allies, raised his sword. Then we go. The mortals of Midgard and all realms are counting on us. We will not fail. Above, the skies roared in anticipation, as if the storm itself sensed the approach of those who would confront it. And in the shadows, Loki's laughter echoed faintly, mingling with the whispers of Hades. The pieces are moving perfectly, Loki said. Soon the storm will awaken fully and the real games begin. Beneath the earth, Kronos stirred in chains, sensing the approach of the gods. The time grows near, the Titan murmured. The eternal storm will rise and the realms will tremble. Let us see if even gods can withstand the fury that they themselves have invited. Thus concluded the trials of the elements, a crucible that tested strength, wisdom, unity, and courage. Thor, Zeus, and their allies had grown, but they were only beginning to understand the magnitude of the threat they faced. The eternal storm awaited, and the convergence of realms had yet to reach its peak. The journey was far from over. Greater trials, deeper betrayals, and unimaginable dangers still lay ahead, and the heroes would need every ounce of power, every fragment of wisdom, and every bond of trust to survive what was coming. The northern highlands stretched endlessly before Thor, Zeus, and their companions, shrouded in clouds of unnatural darkness. The wind carried a chill that seemed to gnaw at the soul itself, and the sky pulsed with energy unlike any storm they had ever faced. Every element, the fire of volcanoes, the wrath of lightning, the fury of wind, and the flow of rivers, was in disarray, as though the world itself were holding its breath, awaiting the awakening of a power older than any god alive. Thor's grip tightened on Mjolnir, sensing the faint tremor of something colossal beneath the earth. I feel it, he said, his voice low. Something is stirring, a power that dwarfs even us. Zeus's eyes glowed like molten gold as he raised his arms to the sky. The eternal storm, it awakens. This is the moment foretold by the prophecies. Brace yourselves, all of you! Kalin, the mortal warrior, tightened his sword in nervous determination. I have faced many dangers, but this, I can feel it in my bones. This is unlike anything I have ever encountered. From the heart of the mountains, a deep rumble shook the ground, vibrating through the very bones of the world. The shadows lengthened unnaturally, twisting into forms that defied reality. From the fissures of the earth, a colossal shape began to rise, darker than night, shimmering with the energy of storms and chaos. Its form was ever-changing. At one moment, it resembled a dragon with wings of black lightning. The next, a massive serpent with eyes like molten gold. Then, a humanoid figure with countless arms, each wielding a weapon of unimaginable power. Thor's voice thundered across the highlands. "Stand firm. Do not falter. Mjolnir will strike true!" Zeus's lightning surged, striking the creature with bolts that illuminated its shifting form, yet it absorbed the energy, growing larger and more formidable with every attack. The very skies seemed to respond to its presence, swirling in violent storms, as if the heavens themselves were being rewritten. The chaos entity, as it became clear to the heroes, thrived not just on power but on discord. Every hesitation, every doubt, every clash between Thor and Zeus fed its strength. Its voice, when it spoke, resonated like the roar of the cosmos, a sound that reached into minds and hearts alike. "You dare challenge me, gods?" it intoned, a voice both terrifying and hypnotic. "You who clash over pride and power, your unity is your weakness. Your struggles feed me, your fears sustain me. I am the storm eternal, the devourer of worlds." Thor swung Mjolnir in defiance, summoning a storm of thunder that clashed against the creature's shifting form. Zeus struck with bolts of concentrated lightning, their combined assault creating shockwaves that tore through the highlands. Kalin, guided by courage and instinct, fought against the lesser minions of the entity, creatures born from shadows, elemental aberrations and nightmares made flesh. Yet the chaos entity was cunning, countering every strike, reshaping itself with terrifying speed. One moment, Thor's hammer would crush an arm, only for it to reform as a serpentine tail. Zeus's lightning would sever a limb, only for it to sprout two more. The creature's power was limitless, fueled by the convergence and the chaos of the realms. Amid the battle, Thor and Zeus realized the truth of the prophecy. Raw strength alone would not suffice. They had to fight as one, their powers coordinated and harmonized, trusting in each other completely. Thor swung Mjolnir, striking the ground in perfect rhythm with Zeus's lightning, creating shockwaves that destabilized the entity. Together, their combined might began to force the creature backward, though it writhed and twisted, feeding off the very energy of their cooperation. Kalin, witnessing the unity between gods, felt his own courage swell. "If even gods must trust each other," he thought, "then I can trust my own instincts and fight with them." The chaos entity roared in fury, its voice shaking the mountains. "You dare unite? You dare resist me? I am the Eternal, the Devourer, the Storm without end." Yet even as it raged, the group saw cracks in its form. The prophecy had been clear. Only through combined effort, unity, and courage could it be contained. Thor and Zeus, working in perfect synchronization, began to exploit these weaknesses. Lightning struck precisely where the hammer's thunder impacted, creating shock waves that tore through the entity's body, while Kalin and other allies struck at the gaps with mortal weapons amplified by divine power. Still, the chaos entity adapted rapidly. Its form became a swirling maelstrom of shadow, lightning, and flame, and the very air vibrated with the pressure of its immense power. Thor's voice carried across the battlefield, filled with both defiance and inspiration. "Hold the line. Trust each other. Strike as one." Zeus's thunderbolts responded in perfect cadence, striking at the entity's shifting weaknesses, while Thor's hammer created fissures in the earth to destabilize it. Kalin, moving with divine guidance, struck at the creature's limbs, discovering that even mortals could influence the outcome if they had courage and faith. From above, the skies darkened further, and the winds carried whispers of ancient power. Athena appeared at the edge of the battlefield, her presence a beacon of wisdom. Remember, unity is your strength. Trust is your weapon. Doubt will destroy you faster than any strike. The chaos entity's eyes, countless and ever-shifting, glared at Thor and Zeus, sensing the growing bond between them. Its form quivered, destabilized by the synchronicity of their attacks. For the first time, it seemed vulnerable, a momentary opening born from cooperation rather than brute force. Yet the battle was far from over. Loki's whispers continued to haunt the group, tempting them with visions of power and doubt. Hades' influence subtly manipulated the environment, sending shadows and illusions to fracture their focus. The chaos entity, feeding on this uncertainty, roared louder, shaking the highlands and threatening to overwhelm even the combined might of the gods. Thor's voice cut through the chaos. "We cannot falter. Strike with purpose. Strike together." Zeus's lightning surged in harmony with Mjolnir's strikes, each impact sending reverberations through the creature's form. Kalin, inspired by the gods' unity, pressed forward with renewed courage, striking at the entity's shadowed limbs and disrupting its balance. The first tremors of victory began to show, though the battle was far from complete. The chaos entity, though weakened, remained a colossal threat, adapting to their tactics with frightening speed. The heroes realized that defeating it would require not only strength and coordination, but ingenuity, strategy, and perhaps a deeper understanding of the convergence itself. As the sun set behind the storm-racked highlands, the battlefield glowed with the remnants of divine energy. Thor and Zeus, though battered and weary, stood side by side, their resolve unwavering. Kalin, mortal yet courageous, stood among them, a testament to the prophecy's truth. Unity between gods and mortals was essential to confronting the eternal storm. Above, Loki's laughter echoed faintly, mingling with the distant rumble of Hades' subterranean voice. "The storm is awakening," Loki whispered. "But even gods may find themselves undone before its fury is complete." Beneath the earth, Kronos shifted in his chains, sensing the approach of destiny. "Soon," the Titan murmured, "the eternal storm shall rise fully. The realms will tremble, and even gods must face the consequences of pride, power, and division." Thor tightened his grip on Mjolnir, eyes locked on the dark horizon. "We have seen its power, felt its hunger, but together we shall endure. Together we strike true." Zeus's golden eyes met his. "Then let it come. We face it as one, or not at all." And so, the chaos entity had fully awakened, marking the beginning of the ultimate confrontation. The trials had tested their strength, unity, and courage, but the real battle, the battle to determine the fate of all realms, was only beginning. The northern highlands trembled beneath the might of the awakened chaos entity. Its form, a swirling amalgamation of shadow, flame, lightning, and storm, towered above mountains and valleys, casting long, dark shadows across the land. Every heartbeat of the creature resonated like a drum of war, echoing through the world and calling forth the latent energies of Midgard. Asgard and Olympus alike, Thor, Zeus, Kalin, and their companions stood at the edge of a ravaged plateau, surveying the devastation. The trials of the elements had strengthened their unity, yet nothing could fully prepare them for the enormity of what lay ahead. "The time has come," Thor said, his voice booming over the winds. "This is no longer a trial, it is war. The eternal storm must be stopped, or everything falls." Zeus's golden eyes blazed with intensity. "Agreed, we strike together. Every god, every mortal who stands with us. Now is the time to show courage." From the heavens, Athena descended, her presence a beacon of wisdom and strategy. Beside her, other gods began to emerge. Freya and Heimdall from Asgard, Artemis and Apollo from Olympus, and even Valkyries riding the winds, their wings glinting with divine light. The armies of gods and mortals were assembling, each prepared to face the unparalleled power of the chaos entity. Kalin, mortal yet fearless, tightened his grip on his sword. "I stand with you," he said. "If mortals can fight beside gods, we can turn the tide." The battle commenced with a force that shook the very foundations of the realms. Thor's Mjolnir collided with the chaos entity, sending shockwaves that shattered mountains. Zeus unleashed torrents of lightning that split the sky, each bolt striking with unerring precision. Valkyries soared overhead, cutting through lesser manifestations of shadow, while Athena guided strategic maneuvers, coordinating attacks between gods and mortals. Yet the chaos entity adapted swiftly, each assault only fueling its growth. Limbs of darkness reformed as wings of storm. Serpentine forms twisted into giant beasts, and its voice thundered across the battlefield. "You dare challenge me? Your unity is fleeting. Your courage is fragile. I am the eternal, the devourer of worlds." Thor roared, swinging Mjolnir with unparalleled force. "We are not fleeting. We are united, and your devouring ends here." Zeus's thunderbolts struck in tandem, synchronized with Mjolnir's impact. The combined shock shattered the creature's armor of shadows, revealing glimpses of its true form, a vast, luminous core of chaos energy, pulsating with raw power. Kalin, inspired by the gods' unity, charged forward, striking the exposed core with a sword imbued by divine light. Sparks erupted, and the creature howled in rage, twisting violently to counter the assault. But the battle was far from simple. Loki's interference was relentless, sowing illusions to divide the gods, whispering doubts to mortals, and manipulating the environment to create hazards. From the mountains, Hades unleashed spectral warriors, resurrecting ancient creatures and fallen mortals twisted into instruments of chaos. Thor's voice cut through the confusion. "Focus, ignore the illusions. Attack together!" Zeus's eyes glimmered, golden lightning illuminating the battlefield. "Coordination is our strength. Trust each other, and the eternal storm falters." Amid the chaos, the heroes discovered that the creature could be harmed more effectively by striking in harmony with the elemental forces of the realms. Thor's thunder amplified the storms, Zeus's lightning guided the currents, Athena's strategies directed mortal allies, and Kalin's courage pierced the shadows where divine power alone faltered. The chaos entity shrieked in fury, sensing its weakening hold over reality. "You dare to fight as one!" "I cannot be contained." Its form pulsed violently, destabilizing, yet its sheer power continued to wreak havoc. From the skies, Freya summoned gusts that carried the gods swiftly across the battlefield, while Heimdall's horn blew, signaling reinforcements from Asgard. Artemis and Apollo unleashed coordinated strikes, targeting the creature's limbs and blinding eyes, creating openings for Thor and Zeus to strike at its core. Kalin, mortal yet resilient, saw an opening near the creature's heart. With Thor and Zeus holding its attention, he leapt forward, guided by faith and strategy. His sword, infused with divine energy, pierced the core, sending a shockwave through the chaos entity. It reeled back, its form destabilizing, thrashing violently. Loki's laughter rang across the battlefield, fading as he realized the unity of the gods and mortals was stronger than he had anticipated. Hades' spectral army faltered, sensing the weakening of the chaos entity's hold. Kronos, chained deep beneath the earth, growled in frustration, realizing that the combined force of unity could rival even the power of ancient titans. Thor slammed Mjolnir into the creature's heart, Zeus's lightning striking simultaneously. The impact sent a surge of energy across the battlefield, shattering the chaos entity into fragments of shadow and light. The storms above roared one final time, then began to dissipate, leaving the skies clear for the first time in weeks. Kalin fell to his knees, exhausted yet triumphant, as Thor and Zeus stood side by side, their combined might having achieved the impossible. Athena, Freya, Artemis, and Apollo observed, nodding in acknowledgement of the unity that had prevailed. Thor looked to Zeus, a rare smile crossing his face. "We did it, together. Zeus's golden eyes softened. Indeed, unity was the key. Pride alone would have doomed us all. Yet even in victory, the prophecy reminded them that vigilance was eternal. Loki had vanished, and Hades retreated to the shadows, plotting anew. The Titans slumbered, their chains still holding. But the lessons of unity, courage, and trust had been etched into the hearts of gods and mortals alike. As the battlefield quieted, Kalin spoke, voice filled with awe. "I have fought beside gods, and we survived. Perhaps mortals can be more than we believe." Thor placed a hand on the mortal's shoulder. "Courage, Kalin. That is what makes a hero. Heart, will, and trust." Zeus gazed at the horizon, lightning flickering faintly in his eyes. The eternal storm has been contained, but the realms remain fragile. This victory is not the end. It is a reminder that together, even the impossible can be overcome. Above, the clouds parted, revealing the first light of dawn, a symbol of hope and renewal. The gods, mortals, and allies stood united, prepared for whatever new challenges the convergence of realms might bring. In the shadows, Loki's laughter whispered faintly through the winds, and Hades' eyes glimmered from the depths of the underworld. "This is only the beginning," Hades murmured. "The realms are free today, but the storm of ambition never truly ends." Thor tightened Mjolnir, eyes scanning the horizon. "Then we remain vigilant. For every victory, a new trial awaits, and together we will meet it." Zeus's thunder echoed in agreement, a promise to the realms that gods and mortals could stand united against even the greatest of threats. Thus concluded the War of the Gods, the ultimate battle against the chaos entity, a testament to unity, courage, and the power of trust between gods and mortals. Yet the story of the convergence was far from over, and the lessons learned would shape the destinies of all who walked the realms. The battlefield of the Northern Highlands lay in ruin, scorched earth and shattered stone testifying to the ferocity of the War of the Gods. Rivers had been redirected by thunder and lightning, forests flattened under the weight of elemental chaos, and the skies, though now clearing, still carried a faint shimmer of storm magic, a lingering reminder of the chaos entity's presence. Thor and Zeus, standing side by side, surveyed the aftermath. Though victorious, the gods could sense that the battle had only revealed part of a much larger tapestry. The eternal storm had been contained for now, yet the convergence of realms remained unstable, and its influence lingered in unpredictable ways. Kalin, weary but resolute, moved among the fallen, tending to mortals and lesser creatures affected by the battle. "The storm is over for now," he murmured. "But I can feel something still waits." Zeus's golden eyes scanned the horizon, noting subtle shifts in the clouds. "Indeed, the chaos entity may have been forced back, yet its essence remains. Its influence has seeped into the realms, and even now, pockets of instability continue to grow." "This is far from the end," Thor's grip on Mjolnir tightened. "Then we must remain vigilant. Every victory carries its cost, and every battle leaves ripples we cannot yet see. Loki, Hades, their schemes are far from finished." Above, Valkyries circled the battlefield, assessing the damage and guiding fallen mortals to safety. Athena, standing beside Zeus, spoke with calm authority. "The aftermath is as important as the battle itself. We must repair what has been broken, strengthen what has been weakened, and identify any threats that remain hidden." Indeed, hidden threats were stirring. Loki, ever the trickster, had vanished during the final clash, his laughter echoing faintly on the wind. Yet his mischief had left marks, illusions that continued to haunt the minds of some, subtle distortions in reality, and pockets of creatures that had been twisted by his magic. From the underworld, Hades observed the battle's outcome with cold calculation. His spectral army had been defeated, yet he had learned much. The chaos entity had been weakened, yes, but its essence remained, a tool that could be exploited. And more importantly, he had seen the unity of Thor and Zeus, a dangerous bond that threatened his ambitions. "The gods have prevailed," Hades murmured, voice echoing through the caverns of his realm. But even victory carries seeds of vulnerability. The convergence is not yet stable. Loki's machinations, Thor's courage, Zeus's pride, all can be turned to my advantage. And the Titans, slumbering yet aware, may rise when the time is right. Meanwhile, Thor and Zeus convened with their allies to assess the damage and plan their next steps. Freya, Heimdall, Artemis, and Apollo were present, along with Kalin and other mortal champions. Together, they discussed strategies to stabilize the realms, repair the elemental disturbances, and ensure that the chaos entity could not regain power. Even contained, the storm's essence lingers, Zeus warned. If ignored, it could awaken once more, stronger than before. We must locate the source of its power and neutralize it completely. Thor nodded. Agreed. The trials we faced were only the beginning. The convergence itself must be understood and corrected, or all our efforts may have been in vain. Kalin spoke, determination in his eyes. Then we go forward. Mortals may not have your power, but courage, wisdom, and unity can match even the might of gods. I will stand with you, Athena added a cautionary note. Be mindful. Victory can breed complacency. The true test is often not in battle, but in what follows. Loki's schemes, Hades' ambitions, both will not rest, and the realms remain fragile. Indeed, signs of instability began to manifest. In Midgard, regions once calm now experienced storms, earthquakes, and strange phenomena. Animals behaved erratically, plants grew at unnatural speeds, and faint shadows lingered even in daylight. It was clear that while the chaos entity had been contained, the consequences of its awakening were far-reaching. Thor's gaze turned skyward. The battle has ended, but the war continues. Every ripple from this storm will need our attention, Zeus agreed, and we must remain united. Discord among ourselves will only empower those who seek to manipulate the convergence for their own ends. Loki, Hades, and even dormant titans, all will test our unity. In the shadows of the mortal and divine realms, Loki whispered through unseen channels, his plans far from complete. The chaos has only begun, he said. The gods may have won today, but tomorrow the pieces move in ways even they cannot foresee. Hades, from the depths of the underworld, plotted silently. Patience, my minions. The time for open conflict is not yet. Let the mortals and gods grow confident. When the moment is right, the realms will fall into my grasp, even Kronos. Sensing the aftermath, shifted uneasily in his chains, aware that the convergence and the actions of Thor and Zeus were altering the delicate balance of power. Soon, the Titan murmured, the world will remember the price of hubris, and the gods will learn that even unity has limits. Thor and Zeus, aware of these hidden threats, began organizing patrols across affected regions, ensuring that mortals and divine allies were protected from lingering disturbances. Kalin and other mortal champions were instrumental in maintaining order, their bravery inspiring confidence across Midgard and beyond. Athena provided counsel, strategizing for potential future conflicts. The battle is won, but vigilance must be eternal. Unity and coordination will be our greatest weapons against the shadows that remain. As the sun rose, casting light over the ravaged highlands, the heroes understood the lesson of the war. Victory was not merely in defeating a singular threat, but in maintaining the bonds forged during struggle, in protecting the fragile balance of the realms, and in preparing for dangers yet unseen. Thor looked to Zeus, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. We fought together, Greek. That bond, it will define the next era. Zeus nodded, eyes glinting. Indeed. But let us not forget even now hidden threats lurk. The true challenges are often invisible, waiting for the moment to strike. Kalin, standing among gods and allies, felt a renewed sense of purpose. Then we remain vigilant. For the mortals, for the gods, for the worlds themselves. We will not falter. The aftermath was a time of reflection, of rebuilding, and of preparation. Yet in the hidden corners of the realms, shadows shifted, whispers of betrayal persisted, and the seeds of the next conflict quietly took root. The convergence remained unstable, the chaos entity's essence lingered, and the ambitions of Loki, Hades, and the Titans promised that the story was far from over. Thor raised Mjolnir high, the hammer gleaming in the sunlight. Let the realms know this. We have faced the storm, and we endure. We will meet whatever comes, together. Zeus's lightning flashed, illuminating the highlands in a brilliant display of divine power. And the unity we have forged today shall be our shield for the battles yet to come. And so, while the immediate threat had been contained, the hidden dangers of the convergence remained. Loki's schemes, Hades' ambitions, and the dormant power of the Titans loomed, unseen but potent. The heroes knew that vigilance, courage, and unity would be tested again, and that the story of the realms was far from finished. The calm after the battle of the Northern Highlands was deceptive. Though Thor, Zeus, Kalin, and their allies had contained the chaos entity, the convergence of realms remained unstable. The skies held an unnatural glow at night, faint tremors shook the earth, and subtle whispers carried on the wind hinted at forces long thought dormant. Beneath the world, in the deepest reaches of the underworld, the ancient Titans stirred. Bound by chains forged by the first gods, they had slumbered for eons, observing the rise and fall of civilizations and the constant struggles of gods and mortals alike. Yet the recent disturbances, the chaos entity, the convergence, and the increasing unity of the gods had begun to weaken the magic that restrained them. Kronos, the Titan of time, shifted uneasily, the chains around him creaking with strain. "The seals weaken," he murmured, his voice a grinding echo through the cavern. "The gods have grown stronger, united. But unity breeds pride, and pride blinds them to the true danger." Rhea, his sister and ally, whispered in agreement. "The balance is shifting. The convergence has weakened the realms. Soon we may rise, and the gods will face the consequences of their arrogance." In the mortal and divine worlds above, Thor and Zeus were aware of tremors that had begun to ripple across Midgard. Villages reported earthquakes, unnatural storms, and strange creatures emerging from hidden corners of the earth. Kalin and the mortal allies fought to protect towns and travelers, yet the sheer scale of the disturbances indicated something far larger at work. "The earth itself moves strangely," Thor noted, raising Mjolnir. Sparks of thunder danced along the hammer's surface as he struck the ground experimentally, detecting energy flows beneath the surface. "This is no ordinary aftershock from the chaos entity. Something ancient is awakening." Zeus nodded, his eyes glowing with golden lightning. "Indeed, the Titans, their chains are weakening. If they awaken fully, the realms could fall before even mortals and gods combined can resist." Athena, ever the strategist, interjected. "We cannot face them blindly. The Titans' power surpasses even that of the chaos entity. We must gather knowledge, strengthen our alliances, and prepare contingencies. Thor, Zeus, Kalin, you will be the spearhead of the effort, but we must coordinate with every realm and ally available." Meanwhile, deep in the underworld, Hades observed the Titans awakening with careful calculation. "The time has come to act," he murmured. "The gods have grown complacent, believing their unity enough to contain threats. Let them face the fury of the ancients. Loki, you shall be my agent above ground. Ensure the gods remain distracted while the Titans rise." Loki, ever the trickster, materialized above the mortal realms, his grin wide with anticipation. "Delightful," he whispered. Distraction, fear, and confusion, all to perfect effect. The Titans shall awaken, and even the gods' unity will falter under the weight of their power. Thor and Zeus, aware that Hades and Loki would not remain idle, gathered their allies. Freya, Heimdall, Apollo, Artemis, and Valkyries convened to discuss strategies. Each god and mortal had a role: reconnaissance, protection of vulnerable regions, and preparation for potential combat against the Titans themselves. Kalin, though mortal, understood the gravity of the situation. "We face the chaos entity together," he said. "If we face the Titans, we must trust each other even more. Mortals, gods, all must act as one, or nothing will survive." Athena revealed knowledge long kept secret: artifacts and seals hidden across realms that had once restrained the Titans. "These must be recovered," she said. "If the Titans awaken fully, even Thor and Zeus together cannot contain them. Mortals must assist, for some seals can only be accessed through courage and ingenuity, not divine strength alone." The heroes split into groups, each tasked with locating these artifacts and reinforcing weakened seals. Thor, Zeus, and Kalin took the lead, traveling across treacherous mountains, storm-swept plains, and enchanted forests. Each region contained tests designed to challenge courage, wisdom, and the unity of the party. In one region, the Forest of Echoes, illusions manifested that preyed on doubts and fears. Kalin faced visions of failure, loss, and death, while Thor and Zeus struggled with doubts of their own, whether their unity could truly withstand the weight of Titan's power. Only by trusting each other completely and facing their fears head-on were they able to navigate the forest and recover the first artifact, a crystalline key that could seal one of the Titan prisons. In the Ashen Plains, rivers of molten rock and floating volcanic islands challenged their endurance and precision. Thor's hammer strikes and Zeus's lightning worked in tandem to stabilize paths. Yet it required Kalin's mortal ingenuity to unlock the second artifact, a shield imbued with the essence of the first gods, capable of repelling a Titan's initial assault. Meanwhile, Loki's subtle manipulations continued. Shadows sought to mislead groups, whispers of doubt attempted to fracture alliances, and illusions tempted mortals and gods alike with visions of power or comfort. Yet Thor and Zeus maintained discipline, and Kalin's courage proved pivotal in resisting these distractions. The final artifact, a scepter that could amplify the combined divine energy of Thor and Zeus, lay in the ruins of Valerian, a forgotten city buried beneath mountains and time. Here, the environment itself resisted the heroes, twisting reality, summoning creatures born from fear, and testing every alliance and bond forged during their journey. Only by combining intellect, strength, and trust did they secure the artifact, preparing them for the inevitable confrontation with the Titans. Deep beneath the underworld, Kronos and his brethren strained against their chains. "The seals weaken," Kronos growled. "Soon we shall rise. The arrogance of the gods has left them unprepared." "Let the world tremble beneath our power," Rhea responded, her voice a whisper of ice and stone. "Patience, brother. The time draws near. We will rise, and the realms shall remember the dominance of the Titans." Above ground, Thor, Zeus, and their allies returned, artifacts in hand, prepared for the escalation of conflict. Athena's strategic guidance allowed them to reinforce weakened seals, but all understood that containment could only delay the inevitable. The Titans' full awakening would bring devastation unlike anything seen before, and every realm, mortal and divine, would be at risk. Thor gripped Mjolnir, looking across the horizon at the trembling earth and storm-darkened skies. "We have delayed the Titans, but their power is near. Soon we face them, and nothing less than complete unity will prevail." Zeus's eyes glowed with a fierce determination. "Agreed. We have seen the results of divided strength. The Titans will rise, but together we will resist. Mortals and gods alike must stand as one." Kalin, mortal yet unwavering, raised his sword. "Then we fight. For the realms, for the mortals, and for the gods who protect them. We will not fail." In the shadows, Loki and Hades watched, their plots intertwined, waiting for the moment the Titans would break free. The stage was set for a confrontation that could reshape the cosmos, where the unity of gods and mortals would be tested as never before. Thus concluded the stirring of the Titans, a prelude to the ultimate escalation. The heroes were prepared, the artifacts secured, and the seals reinforced, yet the looming threat promised devastation beyond imagination. Every choice, every alliance, and every act of courage would now determine the fate of all realms. The air across the northern highlands and Midgard trembled with unease. Even in the aftermath of the chaos entity's containment, the realms still bore the scars of the storm, yet a deeper, more insidious threat now stirred beneath the surface. The seals that had restrained the ancient Titans quivered under the strain of centuries, weakening with every passing day. And in the depths of the underworld, Kronos, the Titan of time, sensed the moment had arrived. The chains that had bound him for eons groaned and cracked. His colossal form, vast enough to eclipse mountains, coiled and stretched, muscles and sinew rippling with untamed power. The air itself seemed to warp around him as time distorted in his presence, creating moments that shimmered, sped up, or slowed inexplicably. "Patience has served us long enough," Kronos rumbled, his voice echoing through the cavernous depths. "The gods have grown complacent, the mortals unaware. Soon all shall witness the might of the Titans." Rhea, standing beside him, radiated icy authority, her eyes glowing with the promise of cataclysmic power. "Brother, we must act swiftly. The convergence has weakened the world. The mortals and gods will not anticipate the full awakening." Above ground, Thor and Zeus felt the first tremors. Thor's hands gripped Mjolnir, sparks of lightning dancing across its surface as he struck the ground to test the shifting earth. "The Titans, they stir. I can feel it in the bones of the world," he said, his voice heavy with concern. Zeus's eyes glimmered with golden light, scanning the horizon. "Indeed, the seals may hold for now, but time favors no one. We must prepare. Every ally, every realm, every strategy must be ready for the coming storm." Kaelin, mortal yet undaunted, looked upon the horizon, where the skies darkened with unnatural energy. "We face the chaos entity together. We can face this too, but it will require all of us, mortals, gods, and champions alike." Athena arrived, her presence a guiding beacon of strategy. The awakening of Kronos signals the beginning of the Titans' return. Every artifact we secured, every seal reinforced, is vital, but the Titan's strength far surpasses anything we have faced. The coming conflict will test our unity, our courage, and the very limits of mortal and divine endurance. The ground ruptured across Midgard as fissures spread like veins, spilling molten rock, icy winds, and torrents of water that defied gravity. From these cracks, the forms of other Titans emerged, immense and terrifying, each embodying a primal force of creation and destruction. Oceanus, with waves that could drown cities. Hyperion, radiant as a living sun. Coeus, whose intellect bent reality itself. And Cronus, who manipulated time, distorting past, present, and future around him. Thor raised Mjolnir, summoning thunder to counter the elemental eruptions. Zeus's lightning struck with precision, yet each blow seemed to only delay the inevitable. Mortals, guided by Kaelin and other champions, worked tirelessly to protect villages and regions now threatened by Titans awakening. But the scale of destruction was staggering. The Titans, unrestrained and aware, turned their attention toward the gods above. Kronos raised a colossal hand, and time itself seemed to stutter. Arrows froze mid-flight, lightning halted in the sky, and mortals found themselves moving in strange, uneven rhythms. The very fabric of reality had become a weapon in Kronos' grasp. "You dare challenge us?" Kronos' voice thundered, shaking mountains. "We are eternal. We are beyond gods, beyond mortals. All realms will bow, and all will remember the supremacy of the Titans." Thor's voice rang across the battlefield. "We do not bow, we stand. For the realms, for Midgard, for the mortals you would enslave." Zeus, lightning crackling, added, "Time itself may favor you, Titan, but unity and courage are stronger than any chain or curse. We will resist! The battle erupted with a force that shattered mountains and cracked the heavens. Thor and Zeus, combining their powers, became the spearhead against the Titans, coordinating strikes with precision and foresight. Kalin and mortal champions moved strategically, exploiting gaps, protecting civilians, and even striking at weaker points revealed through clever observation and courage. Athena guided the coordination, using intelligence, strategy, and artifacts to manipulate the battlefield. The scepter, shield, and crystalline key recovered in previous trials now proved invaluable, amplifying divine power, protecting against temporal distortions, and maintaining barriers that slowed the Titans' advance. Kronos, manipulating time, created paradoxical hazards. Arrows from past and future struck simultaneously. Fissures opened that had not yet formed, and lightning struck points that had not yet existed. Yet Thor and Zeus adapted, their unity allowing them to anticipate attacks and respond with a coordination that defied even the Titan of time. Kalin, realizing that mortals played a pivotal role, used the shield artifact to create openings, striking at temporal weaknesses in the Titans' movements. "Strength is not all that matters," he shouted. "Courage, ingenuity, and trust can turn the tide even against eternity." The battle escalated as the Titans unleashed waves of destruction. Oceans rose as Oceanus surged forward. Scorching light radiated from Hyperion, and Chaos bent reality in ways that disoriented allies and foes alike. Thor's hammer and Zeus's lightning formed synchronized strikes, splitting attacks and creating openings that even Kronos could not fully anticipate. Rhea, towering beside her brother, manipulated the earth and stone to crush enemies and slow the gods' approach. Yet even she found herself challenged by the combined ingenuity of mortals and the coordination of gods. Athena's guidance proved critical in turning these natural advantages against the Titans themselves, demonstrating that knowledge and strategy could match raw strength. As Kronos' temporal manipulations grew more chaotic, Thor and Zeus realized that only a combined, focused assault on his core could end the threat. "All energy, all might, all courage," Thor bellowed. Together now, Zeus called down a storm of divine lightning, amplified by the artifacts, striking in unison with Mjolnir's thunderous blows. Kalin, alongside mortal allies, struck precise points revealed through courage and observation, amplifying the impact. Time itself convulsed, the battlefield shaking with temporal instability, as the combined might of gods and mortals assaulted the Titan of time. Kronos roared in fury. Yet the unity, courage, and determination of the heroes proved stronger than any temporal manipulation. The Titan faltered, staggering as the synchronized assault targeted his essence, finally destabilizing his colossal form. With a final combined strike, Thor, Zeus, and Kalin shattered the core of Kronos' temporal power, sending shockwaves across realms and forcing the remaining Titans to retreat temporarily. Disoriented and weakened, the battlefield, though scarred and battered, fell silent for a brief moment. Thor and Zeus, though exhausted, stood victorious against a force older than gods themselves. Kalin, mortal yet undaunted, looked upon the Titans' retreat, understanding that vigilance was eternal, and that even victory could only be temporary. Athena addressed the group, her voice calm yet firm. "The Titans have been forced back, but the threat remains. The convergence has awakened powers beyond comprehension, and the stability of the realms is still at risk. We must remain united, vigilant, and prepared for the challenges to come." Thor's eyes met Zeus's. "We have faced eternity and prevailed, Greek, but this is only a battle, not the end." Zeus nodded, golden lightning flickering. "Indeed, together, gods and mortals alike, we have shown that unity can resist even the might of time itself. But the story is far from over. Kronos will rise again, and we must be ready." Kalin, sword in hand, stood resolute. "Then we face it, together, mortals, gods, all realms. We endure." In the shadows, Loki and Hades watched, their schemes far from finished. "The Titans have been delayed," Loki whispered, "but the real game has only begun." Hades' eyes glimmered from the underworld. "Patience. The mortals and gods believe they have prevailed, but the threads of destiny are still mine to weave." Soon the realms will tremble again, and the final test approaches. The victory over Kronos had been hard won, yet the aftermath of his awakening left the realms trembling. The Titans, though weakened, were not defeated. They had retreated only to regroup, their patience as enduring as their power. From the depths of the underworld and the highest peaks of forgotten mountains, the ancient beings began to stir, coordinating assaults across every plane: Midgard, Asgard, Olympus, and beyond. Thor and Zeus convened with their allies at the central plateau of the northern highlands. The battlefield from their previous struggle still bore scars of fire, lightning, and shattered stone, serving as a stark reminder of the force they now faced. Freya, Heimdall, Artemis, Apollo, Athena, and mortal champions like Kalin gathered to strategize. "The Titans will not attack randomly," Athena said, her gaze piercing. "They are cunning. Each strike is calculated to spread chaos, exploit weaknesses, and force division among gods and mortals alike. We must anticipate their moves and respond as one." Zeus's lightning crackled in agreement. "We have learned that unity is our greatest weapon. Divide and the Titans will crush us. Coordinate, and even their ancient power can be countered." Thor slammed Mjolnir into the ground, sending a shockwave of energy across the plateau. "Then we prepare, and we strike first if necessary. Every realm must be protected. No Titan shall pass unchallenged." The first signs of the siege appeared in Midgard. Volcanic eruptions, massive earthquakes, and monstrous storms heralded the approach of the Titans' forces. Oceanus, wielding the power of oceans and rivers, unleashed tidal waves against coastal cities, while Hyperion's solar radiance scorched forests and plains. Coeus manipulated the environment, creating illusions and warping reality to disorient defenders. Kalin and the mortal champions led defensive efforts, using courage, ingenuity, and divine artifacts to protect villages, towns, and strategic locations. Shields imbued with divine power repelled tidal waves, while scepters and crystalline keys allowed them to stabilize areas distorted by Coeus's manipulations. Yet even with divine assistance, the devastation was immense. In Asgard, Heimdall sounded the horn, alerting the gods of incoming attacks. Valkyries soared into the skies, intercepting the Titans' minions and guarding key locations. Freya summoned powerful winds to redirect rivers of molten rock and lightning storms, stabilizing the realm against Hyperion's assaults. Olympus was not spared. Hades' influence allowed Titan's forces to bypass natural defenses, creating undead warriors and spectral beasts that marched alongside the Titans' advance. Artemis and Apollo led combined strikes to protect mortal populations and divine strongholds alike, using precision and strategy to counter overwhelming power. Thor and Zeus, however, focused on the primary threat, Kronos. Though weakened, he had returned to the forefront, manipulating time and reality across the realms to disorient allies and amplify the Titans' assaults. Every battlefield move was mirrored, reversed, or altered, creating chaos that tested even gods' perception and coordination. "We must anchor reality," Thor shouted to Zeus. "If time itself bends against us, even gods may falter." Zeus concentrated, sending bolts of golden lightning into the sky that intersected with Thor's thunder, creating stabilizing pulses across the realms. Kalin, guided by Athena, led mortals to anchor strategic locations, holding lines against temporal distortions and physical assaults alike. The battle escalated as Titans assaulted multiple fronts simultaneously. Oceanus's tidal forces clashed with Thor's storms, Hyperion's light-scorched forests, and Coeus's manipulations warped reality itself. Rhea and other Titans used seismic attacks to destabilize mountains and plains, while Kronos' temporal distortions threatened to undo coordinated strikes before they could land. Despite the chaos, The unity of gods and mortals proved resilient. Coordination allowed defensive and offensive measures to succeed. Mortal ingenuity, divine strength, and strategic use of artifacts kept the Titans' advance at bay. Kalin led daring counterattacks, striking at weaknesses revealed by Athena's intelligence and Thor's combat intuition. Yet even as battles raged, Loki's subtle interference persisted. Shadows moved through ranks, illusions confused mortals, and whispers attempted to fracture trust. Hades amplified these disruptions, sending spectral assassins to key leaders. The Siege of Realms was as much psychological as it was physical, a test of will, courage, and unity. Thor swung Mjolnir with relentless force, channeling storms to repel Hyperion's light and Oceanus's tidal waves. Zeus' lightning struck in perfect harmony, targeting temporal distortions and stabilizing zones affected by Kronos' manipulations. Kalin's mortal presence was crucial, striking where gods could not, protecting civilians, and exploiting gaps revealed through courage and observation. The turning point came when the artifacts recovered during previous trials were deployed strategically. The crystalline key stabilized weakened regions, the shield repelled destructive forces, and the scepter amplified Thor and Zeus's combined power. Kronos, sensing the coordinated assault, unleashed a massive temporal pulse, warping time across all battlefields. Yet the unity of gods and mortals held. Thor and Zeus combined thunder and lightning with precision. Kalin struck key points revealed by courage and divine guidance, and mortal champions reinforced defenses, stabilizing reality and countering the Titans' advance. Oceanus and Hyperion faltered under the combined assault. Chaos illusions were pierced by mortal ingenuity guided by Athena. Rhea's seismic attacks were mitigated by Thor and Zeus's coordinated power. Kronos, though formidable, began to show cracks in his temporal manipulations as synchronized strikes targeted his core essence. The Siege of Realms was a brutal, multi-front battle, testing every alliance, every artifact, and every ounce of courage. Gods and mortals alike learned that raw power alone could not prevail. Only unity, trust, and strategy allowed the realms to withstand the Titans' assault. As the battle raged into its final phase, Thor, Zeus, and Kalin led a decisive assault on Kronos, striking in unison with amplified power from the artifacts. Shockwaves tore through the battlefields, stabilizing regions previously distorted by temporal chaos, and forcing the Titans to retreat, at least temporarily. To regroup, exhausted but resolute, Thor looked across the realms, witnessing the devastation and survival of gods and mortals alike. "We have held them at bay," he said, voice echoing over the battlefield. "But this is far from over. The Titans will rise again." Zeus's golden eyes flickered with determination. "Indeed, but we have shown that unity can counter even the oldest power. Mortals and gods together are stronger than even the Titans themselves." Kalin, sword in hand, surveyed the battlefield. "Then we prepare for the next strike. The Siege of Realms is only the beginning. We will endure, we will fight, and together we will prevail." In the shadows, Loki and Hades observed with careful calculation. "They have delayed the inevitable," Loki whispered, "but the final moves have yet to be made. The realms will face devastation beyond imagination." Hades' eyes gleamed from the underworld. "Patience. The Titans are only beginning to test the gods' unity. When the moment comes, even the combined might of mortals and gods may falter." The realms trembled under the looming threat of the Titans. Every corner of existence, Midgard, Asgard, Olympus, and the hidden realms beyond, was now a battlefield. The chaos entity had been contained, Kronos weakened, but the Titans' forces, coordinated and relentless, pressed every advantage, testing the unity of gods and mortals alike. The final confrontation was inevitable, the ultimate convergence where time, power, and courage would collide. Thor and Zeus convened their allies on the plains of Illyrian, the ancient city now restored as a central strategic point. Mortal champions like Kalin moved among them, inspiring courage and reinforcing defenses with divine artifacts recovered during previous trials. Athena, Freya, Heimdall, Artemis, and Apollo coordinated units across multiple realms, ensuring that every front line, every vulnerable region, and every strategic artifact was prepared for the onslaught. "The Titans will not relent," Athena said, her eyes scanning maps of shifting battle zones. "Kronos, Rhea, Oceanus, Hyperion, and Koios, they are aware of our strategies. We must anticipate deception, illusions, and temporal manipulations. Unity, coordination, and vigilance will be the only weapons capable of holding them." Zeus raised his golden lightning, crackling with divine energy. "The final convergence is at hand. Mortals and gods together will face eternity itself. Stand strong and remember, even the oldest power can be challenged through unity." Thor slammed Mjolnir into the ground, shaking the earth. "We have endured the chaos entity, survived the siege of realms, and delayed the Titans' awakening. Now we strike as one. Let them know the might of gods and mortals united." From the shadows, Loki and Hades observed, orchestrating subtle manipulations. "They believe themselves ready," Loki whispered, grin widening. "But even now the threads of fate twist against them. Fear, doubt, and chaos shall test their resolve to its limit." Hades' eyes gleamed with dark calculation. "Patience, Loki. Let the mortals and gods expend themselves. The convergence is our stage, and we shall ensure the final act favors the shadows." The Titans emerged across multiple fronts. Oceanus surged forth with tidal waves threatening coastal realms. Hyperion radiated scorching energy. Koios warped reality with impossible illusions. Rhea shook mountains and plains, and Kronos manipulated time itself, slowing some moments, accelerating others, creating chaos for both mortals and gods. Thor led a frontal assault against Oceanus, summoning storms to counter tidal waves and redirect the flow of energy. Zeus focused on Kronos, piercing temporal distortions with concentrated lightning strikes. Kalin, mortal yet fearless, moved through critical points where the Titans' assaults could create catastrophic damage, using courage, ingenuity, and divine artifacts to turn tides and protect both mortals and allies. Freya and Heimdall coordinated aerial assaults, Valkyries diving into enemy forces, guiding them away from civilians, and neutralizing spectral warriors and minor Titans' agents. Artemis and Apollo struck with precision, targeting weak points revealed through strategic observation and artifact amplification. The battlefield became a tapestry of chaos and order, destruction and hope. Lightning collided with tidal waves, temporal distortions warped reality, and yet mortals and gods held firm, guided by unity and purpose. Kronos, sensing the growing coordination, unleashed a colossal temporal pulse, attempting to erase moments of bravery, undoing strikes and defensive measures. Yet Thor and Zeus adapted, synchronizing their attacks in unison with artifact-enhanced power. Kalin led mortal contingents to anchor reality at key points, creating stability zones where time and space resisted Kronos' manipulations. The turning point arrived when Thor and Zeus combined the power of all artifacts, the crystalline key, the divine shield, and the amplified scepter. A surge of unified energy radiated across all realms, countering the Titans' advances. The shockwave pierced through Oceanus' tidal waves, illuminated Koios' illusions, stabilized reality against Kronos' distortions, and weakened Rhea's seismic assaults. Kalin, inspired by this unity, led the final mortal strike against exposed Titan forces. Courage, ingenuity, and trust allowed mortals to complement divine might, proving the prophecy: only unity between gods and mortals could overcome the ultimate threat. Kronos, staggering under the combined assault, attempted one final temporal distortion, a collapse of past, present, and future into a single chaotic moment. Time bent and twisted, yet the artifacts and the coordination of heroes held firm, anchoring reality and allowing the final assault to land. Thor swung Mjolnir with unrelenting power, striking in perfect synchrony with Zeus's golden lightning. The amplified scepter funneled their combined strength into Kronos, shattering his core essence. Oceanus was repelled, Hyperion's radiance neutralized, Coeus' illusions shattered, and Rhea forced into retreat. The Titans, defeated yet not destroyed, withdrew to the deepest recesses of the realms, their power diminished, their patience intact. The chaos entity, sensing the overwhelming unity, remained contained, its essence restrained by the renewed balance of the realms. As the dust settled, mortals and gods alike stood victorious, exhausted but triumphant. Kaelin looked across the battlefield, realizing the magnitude of their unity and courage. "We faced eternity itself and endured," he said. "Mortals and gods together, we are stronger than even the oldest powers." Thor lowered Mjolnir, his voice carrying across the plains. The convergence is stabilized, the Titans delayed, and the realms safe, for now. But vigilance must remain eternal. Together we are unbreakable. Zeus's golden eyes reflected the sunrise, illuminating the healed lands. The final convergence has proven the power of unity. Pride alone does not win wars. Courage, trust, and cooperation do. Mortals and gods alike have shown that even eternity can be challenged. Athena spoke, her voice firm yet hopeful. The realms have survived. The artifacts, the alliances, and the courage of every participant ensured this outcome. Yet the story continues. Threats will arise and vigilance must be maintained. In the shadows, Loki and Hades retreated, their schemes delayed but far from complete. "The final convergence may have been thwarted," Loki whispered, "but the game is eternal. Mortals and gods may have prevailed today, but tomorrow..." Hades' eyes gleamed from the underworld. "Tomorrow the threads of destiny remain mine to weave. Every victory carries consequences. Every triumph invites new trials. The realms must remain vigilant, for even gods are not infallible." Thor, Zeus, and Kaelin, standing amidst allies and mortals, understood the lesson of the convergence. Power alone was insufficient. Unity, courage, and cooperation were the ultimate forces. The realms had been tested and had endured, yet the future remained uncertain. As sunlight bathed the highlands, the heroes raised their weapons and eyes to the horizon, ready to defend the realms against whatever new threats might emerge. The final convergence had passed, but the story of gods, titans, mortals, and the eternal struggle between chaos and unity was far from over. The final convergence had ended, leaving the realms bruised, scarred, and forever changed. Midgard, Asgard, Olympus, and the hidden worlds bore the marks of a war unlike any other. Mountains split, forests flattened, rivers redirected, and skies forever tinged with the memory of storms, fire, and lightning. Yet amid the devastation, hope endured, carried by gods, mortals, and allies who had stood united against the Titans. Thor stood atop the central plateau of Valerian, surveying the lands with solemn pride. His hammer, Mjolnir, hummed with residual power from the final battle, a reminder of the storm that had once nearly shattered the realms. Beside him, Zeus's golden lightning flickered faintly, a symbol of vigilance even in the calm that followed the chaos. Kaelin, weary yet resolute, moved among the mortals and divine allies, offering guidance, protection, and encouragement. "We have survived the greatest of trials," he said, his voice carrying across the plateau. "Mortals and gods together have endured. Let us rebuild what was broken, strengthen what was weakened, and ensure that unity remains at the heart of our worlds." Athena stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "The war has taught us that strength alone is insufficient. Strategy, courage, and cooperation determine the fate of realms. We must document, preserve, and teach these lessons so that future generations, mortal and divine alike, understand the value of unity." In Midgard, mortals labored alongside Valkyries, heroes, and divine emissaries. Villages destroyed by tidal waves, earthquakes, and fire were rebuilt with careful precision, incorporating protections to prevent similar catastrophes. Knowledge gained during the siege about artifacts, elemental forces, and coordinated defense was shared widely, ensuring that mortals could play a vital role in safeguarding their world. Asgard, too, underwent restoration. Heimdall led efforts to repair the Rainbow Bridge and fortify the heavens against future intrusions. Freya summoned storms to cleanse ravaged lands, while Valkyries trained new champions to patrol and protect the realms. Thor worked tirelessly alongside them, using his strength to stabilize mountains and forests damaged by the Titans' assaults. Olympus was renewed under Zeus's guidance. The gods coordinated reconstruction, using divine energy to heal temples, sanctuaries, and mortal cities. Artemis and Apollo led efforts to restore natural balance, ensuring that forests, rivers, and wildlife recovered from the chaos that had swept across their realms. Kalin, representing the mortal contingent, oversaw the restoration of Midgard and neighboring lands. His leadership a testament to the enduring power of courage and ingenuity. Mortals, inspired by the unity of gods and humans in battle, emerged stronger, more resourceful, and more confident in their role as guardians of the realms. Yet amid restoration, vigilance remained paramount. The Titans, though weakened, had retreated to hidden corners of existence. Kronos, Oceanus, Hyperion, Coeus, and Rhea were not destroyed. They were dormant, nursing wounds and plotting future strategies. Loki and Hades, their plans delayed but far from thwarted, retreated to shadows, observing the rebuilding with patient calculation. Thor, reflecting on the journey, addressed his allies. "We have endured storms, chaos, and titans. We have seen courage, fear, unity, and perseverance. The realms are healing, but vigilance must remain. Power alone does not ensure safety. Only wisdom, courage, and cooperation will endure." Zeus nodded, his lightning sparking faintly in the early morning sun. The final convergence has proven that unity can overcome even the most ancient threats. But the story of the realms is never truly finished. Each victory brings new responsibilities. Each triumph invites new challenges. Athena added, "The artifacts, alliances, and lessons we have gained are not merely tools of war. They are legacies. We must teach mortals and gods alike to value courage, trust, and unity so that when future threats arise, the realms will be ready." Kalin, standing among mortals and gods, raised his sword as a symbol of perseverance. "We have faced eternity and emerged stronger. The mortals, the gods, and the realms themselves have proven that unity is the ultimate power. Let this legacy guide us, and let no darkness, no matter how ancient, ever threaten our worlds again." In the shadows, Loki whispered, unseen but ever present. They celebrate, yet they forget that even the smallest misstep can unravel all. The game is eternal, and patience favors the cunning. Hades' eyes gleamed from the depths of the underworld. The Titans slumber, the chaos entity is contained, and yet the threads of fate remain mine to weave. Victory today is only temporary. Tomorrow the realms may face challenges beyond imagination. Despite the lingering threats, the heroes focused on restoration and legacy. Mortal and divine scholars documented every battle, every strategy, and every lesson. Alliances were solidified, and new champions emerged. Inspired by the courage and sacrifice displayed during the final convergence, Thor, Mjolnir in hand, looked to the horizon, feeling the renewed pulse of the realms. "We have fought storms, chaos, and eternity itself, and we endure. Let this be the lesson for all who walk these worlds. Unity, courage, and trust are stronger than the oldest powers." Zeus's golden eyes glimmered as he surveyed the restored realms. The legacy of the final convergence is clear. Mortals and gods together are unstoppable. Let the lessons learned guide future generations. And may the vigilance we maintain ensure peace, however fragile, endures. Kalin, mortal yet equal in courage to any god, turned to Thor and Zeus. "We have faced the impossible and survived. The realms are alive because of our unity, This legacy will endure far beyond any battle, any titan, any storm. As the sun rose fully, illuminating Midgard, Asgard, Olympus, and the hidden realms, the heroes, mortal and divine, stood together. The scars of battle remained, but hope, courage, and unity shone brighter than any destruction the Titans could bring. The realms were healed, the legacy secured, and the story of courage and unity immortalized in the hearts of all who had survived. In distant shadows, Loki and Hades planned quietly, aware that the future held opportunities for mischief and ambition. Yet for now, the realms were safe, united, and vigilant. The realms, though scarred from the titanic battles and chaos of the Titans' awakening, had endured. Midgard's forests regrew, rivers found their courses, mountains mended, and skies cleared of the lingering storm magic. Asgard and Olympus, though marked by battle, radiated renewed power and vigilance, their divine presence reassuring mortals and allies alike. Thor stood atop the rebuilt plateau of Valerian, the wind carrying the scent of rain and earth. His hammer, Mjolnir, hummed faintly, a reminder of the storms he had commanded and the enemies he had faced. Beside him, Zeus's golden lightning flickered, a silent promise that the gods remained watchful. The battlefield, once a place of destruction and despair, now symbolized endurance, courage, and unity. Kalin, mortal hero and champion of both mortals and gods, moved among villagers and divine allies, ensuring order, safety, and the continued rebuilding of what had been lost. "The realms are alive again," he said, voice carrying hope. "We have survived storms, chaos, and the wrath of Titans. Together we have proven that courage, unity, and trust can withstand even eternity itself." Athena, her eyes reflecting wisdom and strategy, surveyed the plains. The lessons of the final convergence are immortal. Power alone does not ensure survival. Strategy, knowledge, and unity shape destiny. The mortals have proven indispensable, and the gods' guidance indispensable. Together, we have created a legacy that will endure through generations. In Midgard, mortals labored alongside Valkyries and heroes to restore homes, fields, and towns. Scholars recorded the events of the convergence, chronicling battles, strategies, and acts of courage. Knowledge of the artifacts, the crystalline key, the divine shield, and the amplified scepter was preserved, ensuring that future generations would understand their importance and wield them responsibly if needed. Asgard, guided by Thor and Freya, rebuilt its halls and fortresses, incorporating protections against future invasions. Valkyries trained new generations of warriors, ensuring vigilance across the 9 realms. Heimdall patrolled the restored Rainbow Bridge, guarding against intrusion and preserving the balance between realms. Olympus, under Zeus's oversight, repaired temples and sanctuaries. Apollo and Artemis restored natural harmony, ensuring that forests, rivers, and wildlife thrived once more. Mortals and demigods alike joined in these efforts, their courage and resourcefulness proving invaluable in restoring the divine realms to their former glory. Despite the victories, the shadows remained. Loki, though foiled in his schemes during the convergence, whispered through hidden channels, sowing subtle mischief. Hades, observing from the underworld, plotted patiently, waiting for opportunities to exploit the vulnerabilities left by war. The Titans slumbered in distant corners, weakened but patient, their ancient power a looming threat that reminded gods and mortals alike that vigilance was eternal. Thor, reflecting on the journey, addressed the gathered allies. "We have faced storms, chaos, and Titans, and we endure. Let this era remind all who inhabit the realms that courage, unity, and trust are stronger than any ancient power. Let it guide us as we guard the peace we have earned." Zeus's golden eyes met Thor's, a silent acknowledgement passing between the gods. "Indeed, we have proven that even eternity itself can be challenged through unity. Mortals and gods together are formidable. Let this new era be defined not by fear, but by collaboration, courage, and wisdom." Kalin, standing among both mortals and gods, lifted his sword high. We have fought the impossible and survived. Our actions today will inspire future generations. Let this dawn mark the beginning of a new era, one where mortals and gods stand together, vigilant, courageous, and united. Athena added, "The legacy we leave is not just in victory, but in preparation. Knowledge, courage, and alliances must endure beyond this generation. The realms will face future challenges, but the lessons of the convergence will ensure that mortals and gods are ready." As the sun rose fully, illuminating Midgard, Asgard, Olympus, and the hidden realms, a sense of peace settled over the world. Scars remained, yes, but they were reminders of resilience, strength, and the bonds forged between mortals and gods. Thor and Zeus stood side by side, their presence a testament to unity across pantheons, a symbol that even the mightiest powers could find common ground in the face of destruction. Kaelin and mortal champions moved among the people, ensuring that courage, wisdom, and vigilance were instilled in every generation. In distant shadows, Loki smiled faintly, Hades' eyes glimmered, and the Titans stirred subtly in their slumber. The story of the realms was never truly finished. It was a living, breathing legacy of struggle, courage, and unity. Yet for now, the dawn of a new era had arrived, a time of peace, vigilance, and the enduring bond between gods and mortals. Thor raised Mjolnir to the sky, lightning crackling briefly in a salute to the dawn. Let this new era shine with courage, unity, and wisdom. Let every generation remember that even the oldest power can be challenged when mortals and gods stand together. Zeus, golden lightning cascading around him, added, "And let this era be defined by vigilance, by cooperation, and by the enduring strength of unity. The realms are alive, and we shall protect them, now and forever." Kaelin, mortal hero and witness to the epic saga, turned to the assembled gods and allies. "We have faced eternity, chaos, and titans. We have endured. The realms live because of courage, trust, and unity. Let this legacy guide all who follow, for the story continues in every heart, every action, and every generation." The sun rose higher, bathing the realms in light, a symbol of hope, renewal, and resilience. The scars of battle would never be forgotten, but neither would the courage, unity, and wisdom that had preserved life and secured the legacy of gods and mortals alike.